At a glittering charity gala, crystal chandeliers gleam above the city's elite. Laughter and champagne flow easily, while cameras capture every glittering jewel and polished smile. Tonight is about generosity, or at least the appearance of it, as the wealthy gather to pledge support for children in need. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Evan Rhodes, CEO of Rhodes Hospitality Group. Evan strides to the stage with practiced confidence, a tall, magnetic figure in a tuxedo that whispers power. At 42, he is the very picture of success, charming, untouchable, and in total control. Applause sweeps the room as he takes his place at the podium. Good evening. His deep voice resonates. It's an honor to stand here among people who care about making a real difference. As a company, we believe responsibility to others isn't optional. It's essential. That's why I'm proud to announce tonight a $10 million commitment to build 5 medical centers in underserved communities. From the front row, 7-year-old Ellie Rhodes beams up at him, her pink dress glowing under the lights. Pride shines in her young eyes, her small hands clasped politely in her lap as her nanny keeps a watchful eye beside her. But just as the crowd settles into admiration, Evan falters. His hand shakes against the podium. Sweat slides down his temple. His breath shortens. Words stumble from his lips, broken and weak. Ellie... The microphone crashes to the floor with an ear-splitting screech as his towering frame collapses. Shock ripples through the audience. Phones shoot into the air. "Oh my God, record this! It's going viral!" Someone shouts. Ellie's pride shatters into terror. "Daddy, don't leave me like Mommy did!" she cries, breaking free from her nanny and racing toward the stage. Across the room, Nora Bennett freezes mid-task at the bar. At 35, with striking natural beauty and a quiet strength, she instantly recognizes the signs. Instinct takes over. "I'm a nurse. Let me through!" She charges forward, pushing through the stunned crowd. Security blocks her path, but her voice cuts like steel. "He's in cardiac distress. Every second matters. Move!" She doesn't wait for permission. She's already climbing onto the stage, kneeling at Evan's side. Her hands move quickly, checking his pulse, tilting his head, loosening his collar. "Call 911 now. Male, mid-40s, possible heart event, still has a pulse." Her tone leaves no room for argument. Cameras keep flashing, documenting every second of the once invincible CEO brought to his knees. Ellie scrambles to her father's side, sobbing. "Daddy, please wake up." She clings to his sleeve in desperation. Without missing a beat, Nora gathers the little girl into her arm, shielding her from the chaos. "Sweetheart, listen to me." Her voice softens but stays firm. "Your daddy's heart is very tired, but I'm not going to let him go. Do you understand? He's still here." From Evan's blurred vision, the image forms, Nora holding Ellie, protecting them both. A flicker of recognition stirs before darkness pulls him. Under again, sirens wail closer. Paramedics burst into the ballroom, rushing forward as the scene freezes in a strange, fragile triangle. Evan unconscious, Nora steady and determined, Ellie clinging between them. Hours later, in a private hospital suite, monitors beep softly, beside Evan's bed. Tubes and wires replace the illusion of control. His eyes finally open, heavy with confusion that quickly sharpens into irritation. "How long?" his voice rasps. "Nearly a full day," answers Dr. Anderson, calm but firm. "You collapsed from exhaustion, dehydration, and dangerous stress on your heart." "I don't need the details," Evan interrupts, trying to sit up. "When can I leave?" The doctor's expression darkens. "Mr. Rhodes, if you walk out too soon, you may not get another chance to come back." "Rhodes, this wasn't just fatigue. You're displaying early warning signs of potential cardiac failure. Your blood pressure is dangerously high and your stress levels are off the charts. Without significant lifestyle changes, you're looking at a 70% risk of a major cardiac event within 5 years. Evan scoffs, already reaching to remove the IV. I've heard these scare tactics before, Doctor. I run 6 companies. Stress comes with the territory. The door opens and Nora enters with Ellie. The child's face lights up. Daddy, you're awake! She rushes forward, climbing onto the bed to hug him. Evan's expression softens momentarily as he embraces his daughter but hardens again when he notices Nora. Who are you? Why is my daughter with you? He asks coldly. I'm Nora Bennett, the volunteer nurse from the event. Ellie wouldn't leave your side last night and your household. Staff asked me to stay with her since she seemed comfortable with me. Evan's jaw tightens. Well, I'm awake now, so that won't be necessary anymore. Daddy? No, Ellie protests. Miss Nora is nice. She told me stories and promised you'd be okay, Ellie. Evan's tone softens for his daughter. I don't need anyone's help. We're fine on our own, just like always. Nora observes quietly before speaking. Mr. Rhodes' children are remarkably perceptive. Sometimes they see what we try to hide from ourselves. Evan glares. I don't need philosophy from a volunteer nurse. Without flinching, Nora responds. The answer you're looking for isn't in boardrooms, Mr. Rhodes. It's right beside you. She glances meaningfully at Ellie, who clings to her father's arm. The doctor interjects. Mr. Rhodes, I strongly advise against leaving. We need to run more tests and schedule them for next week. Evan dismisses, already removing monitoring cables. I have a company to run. Nora steps forward. You know, the human body has its own way of sending messages when we're on the wrong path. It will keep signaling until you listen. The question is, how serious does the message need to be before you pay attention? For a moment, Evan pauses, actually seeing Nora for the first time. Not as an intruder, but as someone who speaks an uncomfortable truth. Vulnerability flickers across his face before his walls go back up. I've been managing just fine for 2 years without anyone's advice, he says, but the edge in his voice has dulled slightly. Daddy, Ellie whispers, please don't be mad at Miss Nora. She saved you. In that moment, something shifts in Evan's eyes. The realization that his daughter witnessed his collapse, that she feared losing him like she lost her mother. It's a crack in his perfectly constructed armor. 3 days later, Evan is back at home in his sprawling penthouse apartment. Despite doctor's orders, he's surrounded by laptops and phones, barking orders during a video conference while Ellie plays quietly in the corner of his home office. The doorbell rings. Evan's housekeeper appears at the office door. Mr. Rhodes, there's a Ms. Bennett here to see Ellie. She brought some books and sent her away. Evan interrupts, not looking up from his screen. The housekeeper hesitates. Sir, Miss Ellie has been asking for her since yesterday. She said Miss Bennett promised to bring her a special present. Ellie perks up immediately. Miss Nora is here. Daddy, please. Evan sighed deeply, pinching the bridge of his nose. Fine, 10 minutes in the living room. Minutes later, Nora enters the living room where Ellie waits excitedly. She carries a small tote bag. Evan stands in the doorway, arms crossed, observing. Miss Nora. Ellie launches herself at the woman. Nora hugs her warmly. Hello, sunshine. I brought you something special. She reaches into her bag and pulls out a children's book about the human heart and a small teddy bear wearing a doctor's coat. This is Dr. Hart. Well, Nora explains, handing the bear to Ellie. He's very good at listening to worries and making people feel better. Ellie clutches the bear tightly. Can he make Daddy's heart better, too? Evan shifts uncomfortably, in the doorway. Nora smiles gently. Well, your daddy's heart is strong, but even strong hearts need care sometimes. Evan steps forward, irritation visible. Ms. Bennett, I appreciate the gesture, but Ellie has plenty of toys. It's not just a toy, Nora replies calmly. It's a way for Ellie to process what happened. Children need tools to understand scary experiences. Evan scoffs. And what do you know about hearts, let alone parenting? Ellie hugs Dr. Hartwell tighter. Daddy, don't be mean. Something flashes in Nora's eyes. Not anger, but a deep resolve. Actually, Mr. Rhodes, I know quite a bit about hearts. I was an emergency cardiac nurse for 8 years before I became a community health nurse. Evan raises an eyebrow, surprised. And as for your second question, Nora continues steadily. I know that grief affects children differently than adults. I know that sometimes they need permission to be scared for the people they love. Ellie, sweetie. Nora turns to the girl. Why don't you take Dr. Hartwell to meet your other toys? I need to talk to your dad about grown-up things for a minute. Once Ellie leaves, Nora's demeanor changes subtly, professional direct. Mr. Rhodes, I didn't come here to overstep. I came because your daughter called me 3 times from your housekeeper's phone, crying because she's afraid you'll collapse again. Evan's composure slips. She what? She lost her mother, Mr. Rhodes. Now she's terrified of losing you too. The collapse triggered all that fear. Evan runs a hand through his hair, momentarily stripped of his CEO persona. I didn't realize children don't always tell us what they're feeling. They show us. Evan studies Nora with new interest. You said you were a cardiac nurse. Past tense. Why'd you leave? Nora's expression tightens almost imperceptibly. I reported a hospital administrator for covering up a patient death due to negligence. 3 months later, I was let go for performance issues that hadn't existed before my report. You threw away your career over one incident? Evan asks incredulously. I honored my oath, Nora corrects him firmly. Some promises are worth keeping, even at great cost. Their eyes meet, 2 strong-willed individuals recognizing something in each other. Evan's phone rings, breaking the moment. I need to take this, he says, already reaching for it. Nora nods, gathering her bag. Of course, I'll say goodbye to Ellie. As she walks away, Evan calls after her. Miss Bennett, thank you for what you did at the gala. Nora turns, offering a small smile. Just doing my job, Mr. Rhodes's. Evan, he says, surprising himself. My name is Evan. Evan, she repeats softly before leaving, the name hanging in the air like a bridge beginning to form between them. 2 weeks later, the lobby of the Department of Child Welfare. Evan sits rigidly in an uncomfortable chair, his lawyer beside him, his fingers drummed nervously on his knee, a rare display of anxiety from the typically composed. CEO, a stern-faced social worker, Miss Graves, sits across from them, reviewing a thick file. Mr. Rhodes, we've received concerning reports about your health condition and your ability to provide stable care for Ellie, she states without preamble. Evan leans forward. My health is fine. That incident was a one-time event. According to your medical records, which you authorized the court to review during your initial custody hearings, you've been advised by 3 separate doctors to reduce stress and take medical leave. You've refused each time. I'm a single father running multiple companies. I can't just Mr. Rhodes, Ms. Graves interrupts. The court granted you full custody after your wife's passing because you demonstrated you could prioritize Ellie's needs. Recent events suggest otherwise. The lawyer interjects with legal arguments, but Evan barely hears them. A cold fear grips him, one far worse than any health scare, the possibility of losing Ellie. Later that evening, Evan's driver speeds through the city, taking him home. His mind races. He makes several angry phone calls, pulling every connection he has. When he arrives home, he's surprised to find Nora sitting with Ellie in the living room. They're building a model of the human heart together, laughing. Miss Bennett, Evan says tightly. I wasn't aware you were visiting today. The housekeeper appears quickly. Sir, Miss Ellie was very upset after school. She kept asking for Miss Bennett. I took the liberty of calling her. I hope that was acceptable. Ellie runs to her father. Daddy, Miss Nora is teaching me about hearts. Did you know yours has a special muscle that can get tired if you don't rest? Evan's jaw clenches. He asks the housekeeper to take Ellie to the kitchen for a snack. Once they're alone, his composure shatters. They're threatening to take her from me, he says, voice breaking. Child welfare. They're questioning my fitness as a parent because of what happened at the gala. Nora's expression fills with concern. Evan, I'm so sorry. But his grief quickly morphs to anger. Is that why you keep showing up? Did they send you to evaluate me? What? No, I first at the hospital, now here in my home, always watching, always judging how I parent my daughter. Nora stands. That's not what this is, isn't it? His voice rises. You with all your expertise on children and hearts and whatever else you claim to know, you think you understand my family? You think you know what's best for Ellie? I'm only trying to help. Help? Evan laughs bitterly. Do you know what? I've sacrificed to keep her safe after Sarah died. Do you know what it's like to hold your child while she cries for a mother who will never come back? I've been everything for her. Father, mother, protector for 2 years. I don't need anyone to tell me how to be a parent. Evan, Nora says firmly, this isn't about your parenting, it's about your health, about Ellie's fear of losing you. What do you know about family? He spits out, pain making him cruel. You're just a stranger passing through our lives. The words land like a physical blow. Nora steps back, tears welling in her eyes. You're right, she says quietly. I am a stranger, but sometimes strangers see things that family can't. She gathers her belongings, moving toward the door. She pauses, turns back. When you're ready to hear the truth instead of just your fear speaking, call me. Not for my sake, for Ellie's. After she leaves, Evan stands alone in his vast, empty living room. From the kitchen, he hears Ellie's voice. Where did Miss Nora go? The question hangs in the air, unanswered. Late night in Evan's home office. Rain lashes against floor-to-ceiling windows. He sits in semi-darkness, a glass of whiskey untouched beside him. On his desk, Ellie's school photo, a picture of his late wife Sarah, and his medical records. His phone buzzes with urgent business messages. He ignores them. Instead, he types Nora Bennett, nurse whistleblower, into a search engine. Articles appear on screen. Top cardiac nurse files negligence report against Memorial Hospital. Whistleblower. Nurse dismissed after exposing patient safety. Concerns medical board vindicates nurse's claims 2 years too late. Evan reads intently, discovering that Nora's allegations were eventually proven correct, but only after she'd lost her specialized career and reputation. She declined settlement money, asking only that the hospital improve its safety protocols. A soft knock interrupts. His housekeeper, Mrs. Chen, appears at the door. I'm sorry to disturb you, Mr. Rodas, but Ellie had another nightmare. She's asking for Miss Bennett. Evan runs his hands over his face. I'll go to her. In Ellie's room, butterfly nightlights cast gentle shadows. She clutches Dr. Hartwell, eyes red from crying. Hey, princess. Evan sits beside her. I dreamed you. Fell down again, Daddy. But this time you didn't wake up just like Mommy. The words pierce Evan's heart. He pulls his daughter close. I'm right here, Ellie. I'm not going anywhere. But you work all the time, and your heart is tired. Miss Nora said hearts need rest too. Evan swallows hard. Did she? Now, where did Miss Nora go? Did she leave like Mommy? The innocent question breaks something in Evan. For the first time since Sarah's death, he allows himself to truly feel the weight of his grief, his fear, his exhaustion. No, sweetheart. Miss Nora didn't leave forever. I said some things that weren't very nice. You should say sorry. That's what you tell me to do out of the mouths of babes. Evan holds his daughter until she falls asleep. His mind made up. The next morning, Evan stands outside a community health clinic in a modest neighborhood, worlds away from his usual environments. He wears casual clothes instead of his customary suit. Inside, he asks for Nora. The receptionist looks surprised but directs him to a small examination room where Nora is organizing supplies. She looks up clearly shocked to see him. Mr. Rhodes Evan, he corrects softly. Please. She waits guarded. I owe you an apology, he begins. What I said was cruel and untrue. I was lashing out because I was scared. Nora's posture remains defensive. Scared of what? Of failing, Helly. Of losing her like I lost Sarah. Of admitting that I haven't been handling things as well as I pretended. He takes a deep breath, producing a folder from his jacket. I've made some decisions. I'm taking a 3-month medical leave from my companies. I've enrolled in a stress management program and a support group. For single parents, he holds out the folder to her. I've also set up regular checkups and promised to follow medical advice. It's all in writing, signed and witnessed, not because anyone is forcing me, but because I want to be there for Ellie's college graduation someday. Nora takes the folder cautiously. Why are you showing me this? Because you were right about everything, and because he hesitates. Vulnerability showing through because Ellie needs you. You make her feel safe in a way I haven't been able to since Sarah died. Nora studies him carefully. And what exactly are you asking for? A second chance, he says simply. Not forgiveness yet. I haven't earned that. But a chance to prove I can change for Ellie and maybe for myself too. Nora opens the folder. Reviews the documents. Finally, she looks up, her expression softening slightly. Words are easy, Evan. Change is hard. He nods, accepting the challenge. I know. That's why I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to watch me prove it. A hint of a smile touches her lips, actions over promises that I can respect. As he turns to leave, she calls after him. Evan, tell Ellie I'll come visit this weekend if that's okay. The relief on his face speaks volumes. She'd like that. So would I. It takes courage to admit. When we're wrong, have you ever had to swallow your pride to fix a relationship? A series of moments unfold over the next 2 months. Evan sits in a circle of other parents at a support group. Initially uncomfortable, but gradually opening up about his struggles balancing work and parenting. He takes Ellie to school himself. Instead of sending her with the driver, joining other parents at drop-off, awkwardly trying to fit in. In his home gym, he works with a physical therapist on stress reduction exercises, learning to regulate his breathing during anxiety spikes. Nora visits on weekends, sometimes helping Ellie with science homework, sometimes just reading together. Evan watches from third distance, slowly joining their activities. At a medical checkup, Dr. Anderson reviews. Evan's improved vitals. Your blood pressure is down. Stress markers are improving. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Evan and Ellie create a worry box where she can place notes about things that scare her. Each night, they review them together. One note reads, I'm afraid you'll start working all the time again. In his home office, Evan stares at his phone as his COO urgently requests his input on a major decision. After consideration, he types, I trust your judgment. Handle it. Family time is non-negotiable now. Nora arrives one day to find Evan and Ellie baking cookies badly. Flour covers the kitchen. They're laughing. Evan looks up, catching Nora's eye. Something warm passes between them. Over dinner one evening with Nora present, Ellie asks innocently, Miss Nora, do you have a family? A moment of awkward silence. Nora smiles slightly. I have my patients and some very dear friends, but no kids. Ellie persists. Ellie, Evan cautions gently. It's okay, Nora assures him. No, Ellie, I don't have children of my own. Why not? You'd be a really good mom. Nora's expression flickers with something like longing. Sometimes life takes unexpected turns, but that doesn't mean it can't still be beautiful. Later, after Ellie is in bed, Evan and Nora sit on the balcony with cups of tea. You never talk about your family, Evan observes carefully. Nora gazes at the city lights. There's not much to tell. My parents died when I was in nursing school. No siblings. I'm sorry. It's why I became a cardiac nurse, actually. My father died of a heart attack that could have been prevented with better care. Evan watches her profile in the dim light. Is that also why you risked everything to report that negligence case? She meets his gaze. We all have lines we won't cross. That was mine. I admire that, he says softly, standing by your principles no matter the cost. What about you? She asks. What's your line? I thought it was protecting Ellie, but I've realized protection isn't enough. She needs me present, not just providing. Nora smiles genuinely. You've changed, Evan Rhodes. Thanks to you. No, she corrects him. You did the work. I just pointed. Out the door. Their hands rest on the table, inches apart, but not touching, a distance closing gradually at its own perfect pace. 6 months after the Gala collapse, Ellie's school auditorium bustles with excitement. It's the annual talent show, and Ellie will perform a piano piece she's been practicing for weeks. Backstage, she peeks nervously through the curtain. What if I mess up, Daddy? Evan kneels to her level. Then you'll keep going just like we talked about. Remember, what matters isn't being perfect. It's being brave enough to try. Is Miss Nora here yet? She's saving our seats. She wouldn't miss your big moment for anything. Ellie hugs him tightly. I'm glad you're not working tonight. Nothing is more important than this, he promises. In the audience, Nora checks her watch. Evan should have returned from backstage by now. The show is about to begin. Her phone buzzes. With a text from Evan. Need help. Backstage right corner. Alarmed, she hurries through the crowded auditorium to the backstage area. In a quiet corner, she finds Evan seated on a chair, face pale, breathing labored. Evan, what's wrong? Chest tight, he manages. Don't want to scare Ellie. Nora immediately switches to nurse mode, checking his pulse, loosening his collar. How long? Started during meeting today. Thought it was just stress. I'm calling an ambulance, she says firmly. No. He grabs her wrist. Ellie's performance. Can't miss it. This could be a heart attack, Evan. We're not taking chances. As she calls emergency services, Evan's condition deteriorates. His breathing becomes more labored. Pain intensifies. The school principal approaches. Is everything okay? The show's starting. Nora makes a split-second decision. Mr. Rhodes is having a medical emergency. Please don't tell Ellie yet. Let her perform first. We have help coming. Emergency services arrive discreetly through a side entrance. As they stabilize Evan for transport, he clutches Nora's hand. Tell Ellie I'm so proud. Tell her yourself, Nora insists, fighting tears. This isn't where your story ends. From the auditorium comes applause, then piano music. Ellie's performance has begun. Go, Evan whispers. Watch her for me. Nora rushes to the auditorium, standing in the back as Ellie plays beautifully. She records the performance on her phone, tears streaming down her face. When Ellie finishes to enthusiastic applause, Nora meets her backstage and gently explains that her father has been taken to the hospital, but he promised he'd watch me. Ellie says, confused and hurt. He did watch, sweetheart, and he will see. Nora gently shows Ellie the phone screen. See? We saved it. But right now, what your dad needs most is for us to be strong. Can you do that? Ellie swallows her tears, squeezes Nora's hand, and nods. At the hospital, tests confirm what everyone feared. Evan has suffered a mild heart attack, the result of years of pressure and neglect, even though he had been working to change. Hours later, he stirs awake. In the chair beside him, Ellie sleeps curled up like a kitten, while Nora stands close by, steady as ever. Did you record it? He whispers, eyes flicking toward his phone on the table. Nora nods. Every moment, his eyes glisten. I nearly lost it all. After everything, but you didn't, she cuts in, her voice firm. You've been here for her. Every day. One bad night doesn't erase months of progress. The doctor said if this had happened a year ago, before I changed. But it didn't, she insists. Because you did change, and now you'll keep going. Slowly, mindful of the IV in his arm, Evan reaches out and clasps her hand. I almost lost everything tonight. Looking at you, looking at her, it made me realize something. Nora leans in. What? I'm not afraid anymore. Not of resting. Not of asking for help. Not of... He hesitates, then meets her eyes. Not of loving again. Her breath hitches. They share a long, unspoken understanding before both glance at Ellie's sleeping form. One step at a time, Nora whispers. We're not leaving you. Because sometimes it takes a health scare to remind us of what truly matters. 1 year later, a small seaside cottage sits on a stretch of quiet sand. Evan rocks gently on the porch, papers in hand, not contracts but a children's storybook, manuscript titled Dr. Hartwell's Big Adventure, with Ellie listed proudly as co-author. Nora steps outside with 2 mugs of tea. A modest engagement ring glimmers on her finger as she takes the seat beside him. How's the brochure for the clinics coming? She asks, nodding to another stack of pages. Almost finished, Evan replies with a smile. The foundation. We'll distribute them when the 5 new heart centers open. Since stepping away from the corporate spotlight, Evan has devoted himself to the Rhodes Foundation, now focused on cardiac care and prevention. He still serves as chairman, but with lighter hours, while sharing leadership with Nora. Down on the beach, Ellie runs joyfully with a puppy, her laughter carrying on the ocean breeze. Nora watches her fondly. She looks happier than ever. We all do, Evan says, giving Nora's hand a gentle squeeze. Funny, collapsing on that stage turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me, Nora teases. Better than me saying yes? He chuckles. Second place. They fall into a comfortable quiet, watching the sky glow with sunset colors. Any second thoughts about leaving the business world? She asks softly. Evan considers. I built hotels so strangers could feel at home, but I never made one for myself and Ellie. The only regret I have is waiting too long to see what really matters. Just then, Ellie dashes up the steps, puppy in tow. Mom, Dad, can we eat on the beach tonight? Nora and Evan share a smile at her effortless use of mom, still new and treasured. That sounds perfect, Nora says warmly. Evan draws her close, kissing her temple. You know, for a heart nurse, you're not bad at healing broken ones, she laughs. Even stubborn executives? Especially stubborn executives, he replies. Together, they watch Ellie run back to the shore, her laughter echoing against the waves. A family remade, stronger in the places once fractured. The scene slowly widens. The 3 of them framed against the vast ocean, a symbol of resilience, healing, and love rediscovered. Sometimes our greatest strength isn't in standing alone, but in letting someone catch us when we fall.